I've been thinking about this question quite a lot lately. How many bank accounts does one person actually need? Well, I totally get that the number of bank accounts needed is different for everyone depending on their financial habits and requirements. I, for one, am pretty satisfied with the three that I currently have: one checking and two savings accounts that carry out different purposes. But I know others who prefer multiple accounts to separate personal and business expenses, share finances with a partner, or to allocate funds for different financial goals. So let's make sense of everything together today by exploring some of the scenarios to determine when having multiple accounts makes sense for your financial management and explore important areas that you'll need to consider when opening and maintaining these accounts. Hence, covering the big topic of the day: how many bank accounts should you have? But why does one have to have multiple bank accounts? Having multiple bank accounts can be a super useful strategy when organizing your finances. Here are some of the reasons why you should consider having more than one bank account. Number one, maintaining a checking account for regular expenses and savings account for extra money. Number two, keeping your emergency fund separate. Number three, separating business and personal bank accounts. Number four, using a joint checking account for shared expenses with a partner. Number five, separating your spending, such as an account for bills and another for variable expenses. Number six, earning bank bonuses by opening new accounts and maintaining balances. Based on an article I read, it states that it makes sense for a household to maintain 4 accounts, which include one checking account for monthly recurring bills, another for variable expenses, and also one savings account for emergency funds, and a second one for savings goals. So here are some of the pros and cons of having multiple bank accounts. First, let's talk about the pros. Organization. Having these multiple accounts for different spending categories can help you keep funds separate and allow you to have close tabs on where your money is going. These separate accounts are literally my secret weapon to avoid overspending. I used to have those days when I needed to take a rain check on my rent every time I felt like I overspent a little too much on groceries. But I don't have to worry anymore now because from the get-go, my finances were already separated into their allocated accounts, making it real simple. Also, if you happen to have a lot of cash just sitting around, you should consider spreading it out across different banks. This will give you more of a safety net so you don't go over those FDIC insurance limits. Oh, and don't forget about those interest-bearing savings accounts too. They tend to earn a higher interest rate depending on your balance. So it might be beneficial for you to keep more of your hard-earned cash in one of those accounts.
Good morning, my darlings. You're coming home with me.
Now let's talk about the cons in terms of management. Having a few bank accounts can be a real game changer for you financially, but let's be real. Keeping all of them in check can be a little bit of a hassle. Be aware of all the accounts' minimum balance requirements to avoid any fees and also automatic transfers that could potentially place you in the red zone if you don't have enough of a buffer. Just so you know, having multiple bank accounts won't mess with your credit score unless you've got a charged off account hanging around with a negative balance. The only time things could get tricky is if you make a habit of overdrafting. That might get reported to the check systems, which might make it a bit harder for you to open new accounts in the future. So make sure to keep a close eye on those balances. So here are some of the factors to consider when opening a bank account. So when you're all set to open a new bank account, be it your first or your fifth, remember to keep these factors in the back of your mind. Firstly, account purpose, how you'll be using the account. Secondly, the bank's reputation. Check the reviews and history of the institution to decide if they are trustworthy. Number 3, minimum balance requirements. How much you need to keep in the account to avoid being charged fees. Number 4, interest rates. How much interest your deposits earn, if there's any. And number 5, account fees. How much it costs to maintain an account and any requirements you must have to waive account fees. Number 6, available services. Services the bank offers such as online bill payments or a mobile app. Now let's talk about the tips for managing multiple bank accounts. Having to juggle multiple bank accounts can absolutely be challenging, speaking from experience. But I find that money management tools can be so useful for instances like this. I use the WeFire app to link all my accounts to get a consolidated view of my finances so that I don't have to open those individual bank apps one by one. It saves me a lot of time and I feel more confident that I'm able to get that overview in a single place of the money coming in and out of each account, so I can ensure there are no unauthorized or suspicious transactions too. I really like the fact that I would receive alerts from the app for when I have a low balance, if bigger than usual transactions go through, and for when I have an upcoming bill. Now, if I ever feel like I do need to open another bank account for whatever reason, I don't think I'll have any issues managing it. If you found this information helpful, do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more Save Your Penny tips.